Sooner Scoop HD.
Turnovers, just the defensive pressure from Arkansas, especially in the second half.
That's a big part of the story, almost a huge part. If you look at the timeline, it was their defensive pressure, turnover, basket, turnover, basket, turnover, basket. The one on the carelessness one on the end out, getting the ball in bounds, but they capitalize, and that's what they do. We talked about it, taking care of the ball, because they turn them into baskets with their extreme athletic ability. But it got to 11. If you look, I think 4 turnovers turned into baskets to start the half, and then it got to 11. And that from that point, they just turned up the pressure, and they just really got us extended. But it was the turnovers that led to baskets that got them the lead, and we didn't respond to that.
Porter, what did you think of Ricky Council and Nick Smith as kind of a scoring option, just the way Arkansas played with the first game without Brazil?
High-level players, they can score. I know Ricky hit that 1-3 when they're 3-level scorers. Nick can score at the rim, he can score mid-range, and he can score from 3. 3-level scores, and then they just spaced you out with some 3-level scores. Anthony's the same way. He can really pass. When they space you the way they did, I thought we were doing a good job in the ball screen defense, and then they made a nice thing. They just started spacing you. But we spotted so many points off turnovers. Then they got offensive rebounds, and they got cuts. When they went 1-on-1, if we did level them off, they did a really nice job of back cutting. I think they got 3 baskets. I know they got 1 dunk, cutting when we were kind of staring at the level off, but when they were spacing it. But you can't spot a team like that many points off turnovers, offensive rebounds, and cuts. Just losing your man on a cut. They literally, I think, I'm going to watch the tape, but I think they got 6 to 8 points off just cutting when we were staring at the level off.
Porter, they outscored you guys by a fair margin in the paint, and Tanner got up to 5 fouls. What did they do inside that made it such a challenge, and what concerns do you have as you get into approach Big 12 play, knowing that that could be a formula?
The paint was sometimes, you say that scored that many points in the paint. Sometimes you immediately go to thinking post players. Well, they got their paint from their guards. Their guards. Mitchell did a nice job. He had 10, but they got downhill into the paint. Those are paint points. We talked about it at the first 3 timeouts, even in the first half. We're like, you guys, we've got to guard the dribbler. They're getting downhill so much, and it's part of their athleticism. But you got to protect the paint, and they were going downhill into that paint a lot, and it was their guards, and then their guards can drop it off to their bigs. You can't. It's really hard when the ball's in the paint that much.
Jesse.
Porter, you got 23 from Grant, and you talked about the increased pressure from Arkansas. It looked like it was a lot on him in that second half. Just what did you see from Grant and how he responded to that?
I thought Grant was a guy that was competing in that atmosphere. I thought Los did. We got to have more guys that need to come with it when that was heat, because we didn't get catches. You put a lot of pressure when you're not getting catches. That's why we were going with multiple guards, but we didn't get catches. So much credit to them, their length and athletic ability, and their effort. I thought those were all high on their part. I give them a ton of credit for that. But we had some guys that didn't play as well they've been playing. But I thought Grant competed in that atmosphere. I thought Los competed in that atmosphere. They just, when teams take you out of it, I thought we were doing good stuff in the first half. Just in the second half, it just seemed when we had those turnover, you could just feel them just getting ramped up, feeding off those turnovers. And that, to me, that first 5 minutes of the second half, that kind of dictated so much of it, because they just ramped it up, feeding off those turnovers.
Go Justin and John.
Hey, Porter, it was a neutral setting, but that Arkansas crowd was really loud from the jump. Obviously there's a lot of factors that go into the game, but just how much of a factor was that environment that they really created?
That's a great outfit. That's the environment you want to play in. I thought it was a great environment. We just played in one last week too, so great environment here in Tulsa for both fan bases. And I thought, we were going to play in a lot of great environments coming up, and it wasn't a factor as much as our turnovers and their athletic ability forcing those turnovers.
Porter, to continue that point. You had to burn a timeout on an inbounds play, and then next inbounds play, they take a turnover and go get a layup on the other end. Was that effort that you're talking about for them, for Arkansas, length, athletic ability, all that stuff, just bad combination, or was there just plays happening all at once?
No. Bad combination. Their length and effort on the inbounds, but you got to move. We got to cut. We didn't cut hard enough. That's on me. We had 2 or 3 times where we literally just had to break to get open, and we didn't. I don't know if it's fatigue, their athleticism getting to us, but we took one inbounds plays and just flipped it, and they intercepted it. I think it was a 3-point game then, or a 5. And then another one where we had to call a timeout. We could have just broke and got a catch. We didn't. So those are things that I got to clean up, but shouldn't happen in those games. But it's a combination of their length and athleticism and effort.
We go over here to Jason.
Hey, Porter. I kind of just wanted to ask you about, each 3 losses that you've had this season, you guys have had leads. As a mentality standpoint, what do you feel like needs to change within or analytically to kind of, finish out those games, close them out, and take those wins?
For me, I'm just thinking about this game right now, and what we got to do better on this game right here. I haven't thought about bunching up anyone's. What we could have done better this game, unequivocally, is we had to take care of the ball and have more of a physical presence. That's my takeaway. Is we didn't get catches, we didn't take care of the ball. We gave them, points off turnovers, points in the paint, second chance points, points off cuts. That's what my takeaway of getting better from this game. And we need more guys playing well in this atmosphere, and the physicality of getting catches, being strong with the ball, and that's my biggest takeaway of this game.
We'll go Nick, then Eli.
Porter, you guys competed pretty well in the first half. I think you guys had a 9-point lead at one point. Evaluate really how you guys kind of let the game get away from you in that second half.
Again, it's what I just talked about, the turnovers. That's how I just said it. The turnovers in the second half that they led to baskets. That was the story.
Porter, with Los and Grant in that first half, I think they combined for 20 points, 9 of 11 shooting. But production aside, what are you getting differently from that starting tandem than the one you had with CJ?
It's not as much against CJ, but how Los is playing, he can really go downhill. He had 5 assists again. When you're pressuring that much, I think he can really go point A to point B when they were spreading out, pressuring you. He's, I think for him, it's just, another ball handler with Grant, and it's another guy who can go. He's probably one of our fastest guys going downhill, and he creates a 15 and 5. I thought he was really competing and handling, pushing back against that pressure. We got to get some more guys that didn't push back as hard. Him and Grant I thought did. We got to get more in there because you got to combat athleticism and pressure with toughness and pressure. Toughness and getting catches and fundamentals. Getting all those things, and in that stretch. In the beginning, that first 5 minutes of the second half, those 4 turnovers that led to all baskets. That from that point on, it really that was the difference in my opinion.
We got time for just a couple more questions. Go Bob in the back to the front row.
Yeah, Porter, you've talked before, don't put all your eggs in the shooting basket. So when Joe makes a block like that, makes a couple baskets, how encouraging could that be?
Yeah, Joe came in and gave us a nice lift. He had some rebounds, a block, he had 8 points. So that was encouraging to see Joe. I've said it a lot, Joe has that athleticism and length to compete against other athletes like we're going to see in our league. And to see Joe, you could see his athleticism, come out in a game when the other team had that many athletes. So I thought that was a bright spot coming out of it to move forward with Joe, that he can build from it.
Porter, I was wondering what you thought about Jordan Walsh's game, and you probably were pretty familiar with him as a recruit. Just kind of wonder what you think of him.
I thought Jordan had a nice game. He knocked down 2 shots. He played within himself. I thought, I thought he's super long defensively, and but I thought he played within himself. I thought he's what I thought it was watching him on tape when I seen him in the last couple, last summer. But he's long, he's so athletic, and he's really improved his skills. I mean, he knocked down a couple big shots, but I think he competes.
He had that nice steal on the inbound and dunk too.
Yeah, yes, he did. He's really long arms, plays hard.
Sooner Scoop HD.